this is how I see things. I see things unbiasedly. I don't like carrying baggage from others, and I don't like putting others in harm's way. I've seen that happen over and over. I don't do it. Um, Mike Huckabee, Dick Cheney. When I was coming up, right, they always put these men in the news, and they will always talk about Republican politics and libertarianism. And, to me, like, my mother, she watches that stuff, right? I knew it was foul play when I developed the sense that, why isn't that, you can't speak to these men about the values of your community. You can't speak to them, right? There's no line of communication. It's just a lecture POV and a blanket statement, encouragingly so, right? A blank audience. The Constitution, it pushed libertarianism. This is why it failed, because you had Africans who was against it. That's what they don't tell you. They say Negro, right? Spanish. It failed. But why did it fail? Because if you have freedom of association, right? Now you have to have a line of communication with the English Parliament. You're going to need Anglo-Saxon department. You're going to need Anglo-Saxon jurisdiction. You're going to need Anglo-Saxon executiveship, Anglo-Saxon leadership, Anglo-Saxon judicial office. You're going to need those things. This is why today, when you look at the Constitution, right, it's not necessarily followed. It's sort of like a line where it's encouraged to have imbalance. Like people will mention, First Amendment, Second Amendment, but they won't mention the Third Amendment. The Third Amendment is not taught in schools. They don't teach that the first 10 Bill of Rights were, as they say, right, they were ratified, right? The first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights, they weren't ratified. We know the 11th, right? 2013, they like to say the 13th Amendment. None of the amendments were ratified. None of the amendments were ratified. So if you're encouraging people, right, with the pocketbook, you say, we're going to give you a statement, a billing code, a billing chart. We're going to give you a bond charter. We're going to give you all these things. If you uphold this Constitution, everybody agree to it. Well, the moment it goes bankrupt, right? The moment the colonies go bankrupt, you can't continue on with the political stage that the Constitution is still ratified. The Constitution has never been ratified. They don't uphold it. You can have someone like Executor Gretchen Whitmer, right? She's governor of Michigan. You can have someone like her. She will say, fix the roads. Well, if the man don't want to fix the roads, your seat is powerless. You've essentially resigned. You're just holding public office, right? You're in the cameras. Everybody sees you when you walk into the Lansing Capitol. They see you, but they know you have no power. So freedom of association is dangerous. I'm not in agreement with it. You can't make someone else's politics become your own, you know. Great peace, Yakoki.